Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and BORSOG Trader. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back KS family. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin is currently up 5.23% to 21,079. Ethereum is up 8.55% to 1145. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. Please consider sharing and liking this video, and also subscribing to the channel. We would love to have you as a part of our globally extended KS family. Thank you for tuning in. I very much appreciate us sharing this time together. What we've just done is a quick run through of the crypto market. It's really important to get a feeling on how crypto changes day by day. It really can jump around. We can see Matic doing very well, AVAX doing well, Solana and Atom, Uni and Rune. You can see that there are always opportunities in the crypto market. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the Masterclass, the tax software I use, and tax time is coming up and there's a 20% off link right there, and you can directly message me on Twitter at any time. As crypto technical analysts, we scientifically track investor attention. Investor attention is measured by price, which is reality, not future promises. And sometimes future promises can be positive and sometimes they can be negative. The first thing we do is to mark up our charts with the CTKS method. We then look outside the crypto market for trends and collecting probabilities. We look back inside the crypto market to find the market's focus, understanding, just like in life, opportunities reset daily, and enhancing our pattern recognition. Before we buy or sell, it's really important to fight self-doubt and self-sabotage. Many people think that the crypto market is just about buying and selling. Actually, it's not. Mastering emotional control is incredibly important, and professionals are not emotional. And then you can just be your own chef and put together many methods for buying and selling. It takes so many years to understand Rule 570. Psychology sets profitability. As a community, we focus on positive excellence and maintaining real wealth foundations. A lot of people think this is very optional. Hey, I just want to do what I want. If I want to get angry, I'll just lash out and destroy relationships, and that's fine. At least I'm being authentic. Well, that's what they tell themselves. Unfortunately, the market doesn't really care about us, and it doesn't know us. It doesn't know our story. It doesn't know our financials, but it does know something. It knows that the market penalizes inner volatility and rewards inner harmony. This is why day in, day out, I focus on positive excellence, because kindness is one of the best ways to boost your profitability, as strange as it sounds. And it does sound strange to many people. Gratitude and happiness all lead to inner peace, which leads to outer peace. There's much more to it as well. Positive excellence builds character and allows you to support the success that you will get in life. Just think around you, at work, in your hobbies, just wherever you are. If you discover toxic people, do you want to be around those people? No. And the market doesn't want to be around toxic people either, and it penalizes them. That's why it's really important to embrace positive excellence. Getting out of zone 1 and zone 2, which is entitlement and blame and conflict, and into harmony, is the best way to actually boost your profitability, as strange as it sounds. In the comments yesterday, Art had a really good statement. We don't blame. We look at ourselves in the mirror and plan out each day with, what if price goes up? What if price goes sideways? What if price goes down? It's that simple. For many in zone 1 or zone 2, there has to be somebody to blame for their mistakes. I feel for them, but I also hope they step up to the mirror to see the truth and then forgive that person in the mirror as soon as possible, because this is the start to greatness. We must face the person in the mirror. It's a really, really good statement, Art. The financial markets, all of them, penalize blame. So that's why it's so important not to blame. The other side of blame is learning and forgiveness. What I said to Art, because I thought it was such a great comment, blame is a quick way of externalizing very uncomfortable feelings that the person doesn't want to acknowledge. I believe that blame is a major catalyst to depression, addiction, and so many societal problems, yet very few talk about blame. With investing and trading, it's only the markets and ourselves when we understand how things work, and it can take many years to understand. It's just the market and you, nothing else. We come face to face with perpetuating either positive excellence to dissolve self-doubt and self-sabotage, or negative excellence, which is internal hatred reflected outwardly. It's a bit tough for me to say this, but it's really, really important. If somebody had have told me decades ago that this is what was happening, that my personal feelings were actually causing losses in the market, I would have paid attention and I would have saved a lot of money. Blame temporarily avoids responsibility and relieves stress, but this is the problem. But the lesson costs just keep getting bigger and more unmanageable until the person pays attention, forgive themselves, is compassionate and kind to themselves and others, learns, and then switches into positive excellence. Profit, meaning, and happiness are on the other side of blame, and blame is just a catalyst for ongoing conflict. It's very important to realize that the markets, the crypto market, it doesn't know anybody's story or anybody's history, and it is unemotional. The crypto market is one of the most volatile markets on the planet, and it makes people mature very, very quickly. TSP said, it's all about taking responsibility for your own actions. What you can think about is like this. When it comes to placing any buy order or sell order, nobody can come magically in through your fingers and say buy now or sell now. You have to make that decision, and you always need your three-dimensional thinking. That is, in advance, you need to decide what you will do if things go for you, go against you, or go nowhere. And we talk about it each and every day. TSP says something incredibly important. In life, most do not realize wealth takes time, and most importantly, hard work over many years. You do not wake up with a big house, cars, nice things in life without setbacks and the strength, courage, etc. to go again and again. It's so true, and so many very, very successful people have had mind-numbing setbacks, but they dust themselves off and say, what did I learn from that? How can I do better next time? And they progress. When people are calm, the market actually rewards that inner harmony, and it's really important. There's a thing called revenge trading, and it sounds really bad, but the concept is people get into the market and they say, I've made losses, so I need to make everything back in this one trade, and they go all in and more, and the trade doesn't work because it's not made with inner harmony, it's made with inner volatility. It's really important to always control your emotional state. Recently, I started BORSOG Trader, and BORSOG is all about buying on red, selling on green. It's a way to make money in any market condition. Up, down, sideways, doesn't matter, you can make money. And this is all about helping you time better inside the market with your entries and your exits. I just put out a new video, how I made 11% profit in 9.5 hours on IOTA. The concept is, if I can do it, you can do it as well. I just made 11%, but we often talk about making 10% per week and what that means. You can see you can actually do really, really well with actually layering in and layering out. But it's all about just getting yourself familiar with the market dynamics. A lot of people say, Ken, 10%, 11%, that's chicken feed. I make hundreds of %. If you can continuously roll over a 10% return, you're going to do incredibly well. Small percentages really add up over time. Rule 225, Bitcoin cannot escape the stock market's gravity. What do we actually see in the stock market? And Masterclass students, you'll get my live chart in TM6. What we saw is the VIX, the volatility index, the fear gauge of the main market. We saw the VIX receding. What does this mean? It's really positive for price. Price goes up. Remember that we drew out these two lines. We had a breakdown and then price bounded up. And look at it, it's hugging that underside of that particular resistance line. Let's hope it can get above that and start to rally. Why do we hope that? Aren't we in crypto? Ken, what are you talking about the stock market for? Because there's directional correlation between the NASDAQ and Bitcoin's price action. This blue line is Bitcoin's price. What else do we see from this? Bond prices are starting to normalize. Bonds and yields, bond prices and bond yields, of course they move indirectly, mathematically, but the key is the bond market has been totally out of sync and it's been throwing weird signals for quite a while. When we look at gold, gold lost its support line, which actually indicates that the dollar has been coming up. We're not quite sure if the dollar will break this resistance and resume an uptrend, or it may break down. It's a little bit early to tell. A good thing that we note is the price of oil has absolutely fell off a cliff, so to speak, in stock market terms. This is really good because it deflates inflation. And inflation is a major problem for the markets globally at the moment. So the fact that light crude oil prices are coming down is actually a really positive thing. When we look at the put-call ratio, the amount of negativity is coming out of the market to a degree, but the negativity is still really high. It's not like the VIX has said, okay, I'm dropping out of this, everything is fine. It's still quite elevated. When people are new to the market, you can get a lot of conflicting signals, and that's often why indicators are so problematic. One indicator will say buy, another indicator will say sell, and another indicator will say hold. It is really confusing when you start, but you'll get better and better over time. One thing to keep your eye on is inflation and the Fed balance sheet. We can see the Fed balance sheet has come up to 8.93 trillion from 8.915 trillion. This is really interesting because the Fed has been saying that they're going to reduce their balance sheet. Instead, it went up. Okay, interesting stuff. And when we look at the 10-year and 5-year break-even inflation rate, we can see those inflationary pressures are coming down. That's really good. And we can see a bounce in the NASDAQ and of course Bitcoin as well. This is all pointing to actually really good things, but this is just one more probability that we need to stack. If you like, when it comes to looking at probabilities, just think of yourself as an artist and you're just collecting different shades of color. You will actually form a picture of what is going on. Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. Looking at the fear gauge, we can see there's still extreme fear in the crypto market, and that's impacting price. But we can also see that there's been a little bit of a rebound here in price. One thing that I wanted to point out, the amount of fear that we're actually seeing in the crypto market is greater than the fear that was in the crypto market during the COVID-19 sell-off. Bitcoin is currently trading at 21,020. And we can see that Bitcoin is doing its best to get out of this underside resistance. It's seeking to get over this resistance level and party, but it's having a little bit of trouble, but it's still slowly getting there. It's bypassed one level of resistance here, and it's also bypassed another. It's looking relatively positive. But we always just have to bear in mind the crypto market can do weird things, so just always have your three-way strategy in play at all times. Now, what are these blue boxes? This is from the options market. These are the max pain levels. What we saw was a couple of days ago, we were at max pain of 21,000. Then the max pain dropped to 20,000 and the price was just slightly below that. And then the next day, which was pretty much yesterday, we saw that the max pain was 21,500, then it dropped to 20,500, and now that's over. This lower level is 21,500. That lower level is 20,000. Now, what are we seeing here? What are we reading from the options market? We're reading that the options market had a max pain price that was quite close to the actual price. Now, what are we looking for options expiring tomorrow? They're predicting a max pain price of 29,000. That is a heck of a way away from here. Depending on where you're located in the world, this could be today or just entering today. Time zones are really tricky when it comes to global markets. So let's have a look. 29,000. If we get any upward momentum, that could be really, really interesting and certainly something to keep your eye on. But what about the following day? They drop down to 20,500 in max pain. This is a key one. The 29,000 is the major options expiration. The thing that we can take away from this, there's a lot of bullish bets in the market at the moment, and that's what's driving up the max pain price. Because of the volatility inside the crypto market, it's really good to be fast and rapid with what you're doing. I would suggest taking a small percentage of your investing portfolio and just learning how to BORSOG, just with coffee money. It will do a lot to build your confidence and help you to get inside the synchronization of the market. That's a really, really powerful thing. Flo had a really good comment yesterday in yesterday's video. I really like the idea of coffee money. I noticed that when I have a jovial, fun attitude about trading, I'm open to ideas and creative ways of entering and exiting. Excellent. And I just said that takes the pressure off, that fun attitude, and also focusing primarily on the learning so that you can scale as confidence grows. Dicky also reached out, just a beautiful, beautiful thing to share. Thank you, Dicky. I'm Toyota trained for 10 years and we were taught the concept of continuous improvement. There I learned the power of lots of little steps forward are actually quicker and easier than trying to find one big step forward. And if you made a mistake, try something small. So what? No problem. Learn from it and try something else. If you made a mistake trying something big, you're stuck with it and it hurts. Lots of little steps are the way. Then try and add speed to that learning. Try and learn and improve every day. If you don't one day, that's cool too. You're still doing better than you were. Thank you, Dicky. That's really excellent. And Tails was saying that he was part of a process improvement at Swiss National TV station. Small steps forward every day, or like I say, go slow to go fast. It is definitely the way to improve. Thank you, Tails. What we see in Bitcoin is that there are several resistance levels that we're trying to break through. And it's literally, you can see the price is getting rejected from those lines and obeying them incredibly well. We learn how to do this charting through the CTKS method, which is all about recognizing exponential support and resistance lines. The entire foundation section is on it. And that is continuously reinforced throughout the entire masterclass. What are we seeing at the moment with the longs and the shorts? The shorts have been under a little bit of pressure recently, as have the longs. The longs have started to come back in and the shorts have decreased their exits in a relative rate. And you'll get this live chart in TG34 for the masterclass students. When turning to liquidations, what do we see? Over the past 24 hours, there's been 130.54 in liquidations across 49,576 positions. In the past 24 hours, about 71% of total liquidations were short liquidations. What about the past 12 hours? 68%. So that's less. What about the past 4 hours? 84% short. Now it's actually ramping up. What about the past hour? Nearly 85% short. The shorts are getting quite hit at the moment, but it's really light trading volume, and you can see that at the moment. It's almost like weekend trading volume. I think this is because a lot of people are just waiting on the sidelines. That's why it's always so important to make your in advance probabilistic choices, and just do it when you're entering a trade or exiting a trade. And there's always the point, if things go for you, where do you get out? And if things go against you, where do you get out? It's often really tough. And if things go horizontally, what do you do? These kind of questions only you can answer, because only you have the knowledge about your financial position. When we come into looking at BORSOG trading, and indeed many of the things that are discussed in the masterclass, you have a set or recipes for how to do entries and exits, and then you just pick the kind of return that you feel is appropriate for your holding position, because everybody is different. Some people have holding periods for 10 years, others have holding periods for 10 days, and others have a holding period for 10 hours. Let's have a look at the greatest gainers over the past 24 hours. Up in front is Rune, 18.86%, Curve, 13.29% up, Atom, 12% up, Engine, about 11% up, AVAX, nearly 11% up, Uni, about 10% up, Solana, up 8.64%, Compound, it's just actually come up around 9.52%, and Flow around 8.7% up. When we go the other way, what are we seeing with the greatest losses? Well, in the top 100 there aren't many, and they're very low. Clay is just down 0.69%, AMP 0.66%, Tron 0.18%, and then we get into stable coins. The market's heating up. Let's have a look at the top cryptos and see what is cooking. We can see Bitcoin just marginally passing its resistance level. It's staged a monster rally, and it looked like we were losing this really key support around the 20,400 level, but we managed to come back up over that. You know that we're still under a level of resistance. Multiple resistances are playing out. For personally, my take on the market at the moment, I'm just waiting till things consolidate a little and just sitting on a little bit of cash, because when things actually consolidate and we know what direction the market is headed, that's a much better way than when it reaches no man's land. And when it reaches a point of indecision or a major point of turning, it's often really good to just wait a little bit. And that's where patience comes in. A lot of people want to force the market to give them demanded returns, but we can't do that. We can't force the market, we just flow with it. And the good thing to think about is that life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And the same goes with the market itself. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum still exhibiting the same basic resistance pattern as Bitcoin is, but it's showing more strength. Now, what do we see with Binance Coin? Binance Coin has actually overcome that resistance. That's a really positive sign. Remember, you're like a detective. You look through all of these top patterns because you're trying to do and enhance your pattern recognition. What about XRP? Well, that's interesting. XRP is really going for it at the moment. And it's bypassing an area of resistance. Not bad. And it has a lot of underpinning support. But what do we know about Bitcoin? All the alts, they can't escape Bitcoin's gravity, but they can temporarily disconnect from it, and then they will be pulled back either to the upside or to the downside. So that's why we follow Bitcoin's gravity all the time. We're always looking at it. It's a hidden secret inside the crypto market that very few people talk about, and I don't know why. Let's have a look at ADA. ADA, of course, was forced back with its release. It was forced back 4 weeks with the Vassal hard fork release, and that kind of deflated expectations on ADA. So you can see that's weakening. Solana had some really good news. It brought out a mobile app, and there were all sorts of things happening within the Solana community. It looks like they may be resolving. Maybe. Just keep your eye on it. Always do your own research. And what we see here, this pattern is really, really good. Solana is up here. Just look at Bitcoin's drop off here. It's like Solana is trading up here. When compared to ADA or compared to BNB, it's like up here, or compared to XRP, it's like it's up there, or compared to Bitcoin, it's like it's up here at around 26,800. Just keep these things in mind. It's really, really good to cross compare to Bitcoin. What about Doge? Doge is really, it's doing very, very well. And we can see that its upward momentum has definitely crossed over resistance, and it's just consolidating at the moment. Remember that no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. As Bitcoin goes up, all of these alts will rally. You can get some disconnection. About 1% of them tend to disconnect or dephase, but they rephase all the time. And what are we noticing about DOT? DOT is not doing too badly. It's about midway in that range. So it's about here, roughly, around the $24,500 mark on Bitcoin, roughly. This can give you a very good indication of how to read your beloved alts. There was a fantastic comment from Badger in yesterday's episode. I love this. Nobody wants to plant the corn, but everybody wants to raid the barn. That's really good. Having good work ethics, commitment, and gratitude opens us up to learning more each day. I love Nenad's comment about learning. It's, for example, Nenad said, if I win, you learn. And it was really good. He was talking about Nenad's comment to his students. There's so many great comments in our beloved community members. It's just wonderful. Brett said, learning is an absolute privilege. One thing I have learned is that I will make mistakes along the way. It's part of learning. Learning is tough. It's hard to overcome mistakes and carry on. It's mentally very rough. When we make mistakes, we can feel embarrassed, stupid, question our own confidence, and begin down the road of self-doubt and self-sabotage. Brett said he gave an example where he's doing certain things, where he could send his car, for example, to a mechanic. He said, no, forget that. I'm going to do it myself. I want to learn. And he's saved thousands in doing the work himself and learned so many transferable skills. And the number one skill I have learned is to keep going no matter what, and I will find a solution. Good on you, Brett. Awesome. The markets will demand their tuition fee. They're called losses, but don't focus on that. JK Secret had a really good comment. Lessons come when the student is ready to receive it, but sometimes we don't get it the first time. The lessons repeat itself until we learn. Having an open heart and an open mind allows learning to happen in the first place. If our ego tells us we already know everything, we'll soon find out that we do not through life's tough lessons. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know, so stay open and receptive to learning new things. And from Oscar, we definitely get the same lesson again and again and again, each time with increased levels of downside until we learn it. This is really important to understand. Many people fight lessons in life, but the lesson will eventually crush that person. It is the way of the world. We can't fight against the world because the world is not trying to harm us with the lesson. The world is lovingly trying to redirect us onto a harmonious path. And sometimes people with very, very strong wills will refuse to learn lessons. But eventually the lessons tend to break everyone. Oprah had a really good statement. She said a lesson begins with a pinch, a poke, a slap, and then it goes all the way up to death. It's really important to learn lessons when it's just a pinch. Let's have a look at some community favorites. And if you have a different community favorite you would like me to cover, please let me know in the comments. IOTA. IOTA is doing really, really well. I explained a BORSOG trade that I did in IOTA just in the last BORSOG Trader episode. So if you'd like to have a look at that, that could be of assistance. So we can see IOTA is doing really, really well. A lot of people, when it comes to trading, they want to pick the bottom and they want to pick the top, buy at the bottom, sell at the top. Professionals don't even care about these things. It's just not important. What you want to do is participate at the right time in the right place and just make the percentage you think the market can give you. That's really important, and the market is always changing character, so we just have to be aware of what that percentage might be. NKN, it's very BORSOG-ish. Look at those ups and downs. What about ICX? ICX is looking really good. It's overcome the resistance. Have a look at this. This is Bitcoin's price action. If you look at Bitcoin, it's getting close to overcoming. But what has Icon done? It's already overcome it. So just bear this in mind. This is really, really good stuff to look at your alts in this fashion. What about VRA? VRA is really, really spiky, but it's moving in alignment with Bitcoin's gravity, but it does have more strength. What about Rose? Rose overcame resistance quite a while ago and has been doing really well. What about People? People is a really interesting project, and I've been experiencing some really good BORSOGing with this one. What I tend to do with my BORSOG trades, because people ask me this question, I tend to jump from one to another because I want to provide as many patterns as possible to our beloved community. I don't stick in one and just write it. Well, sometimes I do, but not very often. I want you to experience like patterns like this or patterns like that or patterns like that, so that it broadens your field of knowledge and broadens your field of view as well. OGN is looking quite interesting as well. You can see OGN moved up as Bitcoin moved down. It's really important to identify these kind of alts that are doing counter-cyclical movements, falling in and out of gravity. But if you actually look at what's happening, they're still in quite a degree of behavior. Like, for example, look at this. I'll just show you. You can see that what is actually happening. If you look into here, the disconnection from Bitcoin's gravity, if you call it that, is not really a disconnection. It's an over-exaggeration and under-exaggeration of positive or negative price potential movements. And this is really good for you to actually look at. When you look at this, you will say, oh, no, it's disconnected. But I look at it, I see something completely different. I see movements getting over-exaggerated and under-exaggerated. Over-exaggerated to the positive side, which pushed OGN up, but under-exaggerated to the negative side, which did push OGN down quite a few times, but the overall net effect was that it pushed it up. Very, very interesting. It's really, really good for you to keep your eye on these things. RNDR. RNDR has been doing well recently relative to Bitcoin's gravity. Remember that these particular cryptos, I'm not recommending any of them. I never shill any tokens or any coins. I never take any money from anyone. And plenty of people have reached out to me and said, oh, Ken, we'll pay you to promote our coin. I don't do it. I just look at the actual chart and say, this is interesting. And that's what I'm doing here. Please always do your own research. I really love Oscar's comment in yesterday's video. Learning is building better mental models of the world. One useful way is to ask yourself, what would change your mind? That's really clever. And I think Oscar's concept of better mental models is really correct. The world has its own reality, and that can be very different from our reality. And when the world's reality and our reality clash, guess what? The world wins, not us. I think the whole concept of mental breakdowns and sometimes depression, not all the time, of course it can be biological, but sometimes we hold on to something that is just not working and we say, well, it should work, it must work, it has to work. And the world says, no, not working. And we just fight the world. But if we always understand that the world is here to help us succeed, it's here to redirect us onto the right path, and that path is for your positive excellence and real wealth to flow from you into the world. This is a really, really beautiful thing to look at. And I love what Oscar says here. One useful way is to ask yourself, what would change your mind? For example, if you're holding on to something deeply negative, some kind of blame, What would change your mind? What would change your perspective? This is a really absolutely beautiful lead-in to what we should talk about in today's episode, which is personal growth. The markets are always growing us personally. When people fight against it, they get really, really toxic. But the market doesn't care about people. The market doesn't even know us. It doesn't know our name. It doesn't know our financial situation. It doesn't know our story. It doesn't know our background. It doesn't know anything about us. It just moves in its own fashion with the collective fear and hope of the entire market as a participant. But if you think about that, how can we learn to embrace reality through personal growth? I would love us to discuss that in this particular episode because I think it's going to be so valuable for people. That's what we're all about here, shaving years, if not decades, off the time it takes to learn how to be successful in the market. The other thing to talk about, more on a technical aspect, what do you think about the NASDAQ? Do you think the NASDAQ will breach this resistance and start to come back up? That's really important, as you know, because the NASDAQ and Bitcoin are highly, tightly correlated. And what do you think will happen with Bitcoin in the next trading session? Do you think it will pull itself up because of the gravity of the options market, or just wander off and do something else? Please let me know. Do you think it will break out of this resistance and go higher, or do you think it will do something else? It's really, really good to talk about these things as a community. I'm very much looking forward to seeing your comments. I hope you found the content useful. Please consider sharing and liking this video and also subscribing to the channel. We would love to have you as a part of our globally extended KS family. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. And the scammers are really, really active in the community at the moment across all of YouTube and Twitter. Please know that I don't have WhatsApp. That is generally scammers. Thank you also to the CTKS ambassadors for assisting Masterclass students. And of course, a very big thank you to you for watching and for being part of our global family. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the tax software I use and the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass. Please seek out an ambassador to get 80% off. The links are in the description of this video. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.